Okay, so the lesson that I wrote for my place-based lesson plan is based around the concept of mapping. My third graders have been working a lot on maps. They've been learning about them for about a week and a half. They are very knowledgeable about the parts of a map, but they still haven't created their own map to bring all the information together. So it's meant as like a final assessment sort of lesson where the students apply what they've learned in the classroom by making a map of their school. So I made this lesson based inside of their school so that they can do it whether or not they have the approval to go on a field trip. If they did get the approval to go on a field trip, then it could easily be implemented during that field trip, and they could make a map of wherever they took a field trip to. But for this lesson plan, I wrote it in the school just because it would make it easier for me to use as a Block C student. So the objectives that I wrote for this lesson were by the end of the lesson, students will be able to construct a map of Marlatt Elementary School and label their map with a title, symbols, legend, a compass rose, cardinal directions, grid system, and a measurement scale. These tie directly into the social studies standards that I chose, which were the idea section, concept of mapping, physical characteristics, and cartographers, and from the skills section, create a map that includes title, symbols, legend, compass rose, cardinal directions, grid system, and measurement scale. The benchmark standard that I chose was benchmark 5.3. The student will investigate the relationship among people, places, ideas, and/or the environment and connect those relationships to contemporary issues. So the way that the lesson goes, first we'll have a refresher of what all the words are and then the parts of a map. So they'll go over the word cartographers to kind of get them excited about what they're doing. And then they will, there will be a read aloud of the book, There's a Map on My Lap. It's kind of a Dr. Seuss style book, and it goes through each part of the map and gives a definition and how you use it. It's really helpful for teaching math lessons. So as I'm reading that, students will be able to use a whiteboard marker on their desk to write about, or to write a list of each part of a map out so that they can be engaged throughout the read aloud. After that, we'll review it as a class, and then they'll apply the information to make their own map of a school. In order to have them be able to make a map of their school, I would think you would need some sort of permission from a supervisor or principal for them to be walking around throughout the school. I figured it would be easier to have them work as partners, so there's some cooperative learning happening here. And they will walk around the school with their partners and create a map based on what they see. So I would go through the champ's expectations, and I would let them know that I was going to be in the hallway supervising. If they had any questions or needed any help or any problems, then they could easily come find me or one of the other teachers and get it. I would hand them a rubric so that they knew the expectations of the assignment. We would go through the rubric and read through each part of the rubric so they knew how to get a good grade on it and what I was expecting. Then I would set them off and then call them back after 25 minutes to the classroom and give them a little bit extra time to finish up their map in the classroom. And then for the last portion of the lesson, they will grade their own work according to the rubric and their partner, and then they will participate in a gallery walk to look at everybody else's work and provide constructive criticism for them and positive feedback on a paper next to each map. That'll probably last for about 10 minutes of the lesson, after which the teacher would pick up the assignment to grade them and then move on to the next thing. So When I wrote this lesson, I used a lot of, I really tried to use an engaging approach to it. We've been focusing a lot on engaging students in experiences and how that helps them comprehend the information better and understand and retain the information rather than just memorizing things. I think if they do this lesson, it will help them learn how to read a map better and create a map better. It'll help them with their cooperating skills with their peers, and it'll help hold them accountable by having them grade their own work. The place plays a significant role in my lesson because it's based on the place. It's a place-based lesson, so the entire map that they're drawing is going to look like the place that they're in. The specific place doesn't matter per se. They could be anywhere. You can draw a map of anywhere, but that's part of what I like about this lesson is that you can use it on a regular day in the classroom, or you can adapt it for a field trip or any sort of fun thing that you might have planned. When I was making this lesson, I learned a lot about creating rubrics, and it can be difficult to word things correctly on rubrics so that it's measurable and understandable by students, and so that it's fair and equitable to everyone, and it's not just based on my opinion of their work. And I also really tried, I learned a lot about how to engage students and how I can create an assessment that doesn't feel like an assessment to the students. So it was a really valuable lesson to write, and hopefully I get to use it soon.